April 14th, 2018. This is at Mostly Linux on Mostly Gaming. We've got a terrific show for you tonight. We've got our next game giveaway. We're going to announce that in a second. You're going to love that one. We're going to talk a little bit about Ryzen processors. Steam Spy is dead. We're going to talk about Xbox Originals, Firaxis Game Mode, and our topic of the week is a review of the Game of the Year watch. All coming up on Mostly Linux on Mostly Gaming. And we're back. Happy to introduce here our co-host this week. Yes, we've got a co-host here on beta number 3 of our podcast. Let's make a big shout-out welcome to William Alexander there sitting with us. At _macrodude_. How are you, macro dude?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. What have you been doing? Where are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am sitting at home in my office with a brand new podcast mic and very excited to be here today with you.
That's terrific. So what's your background with Linux? Are you a Linux fan? Are you a Windows fan? Are you a console fan? What do you do?
I mostly use Windows, hence mostly Linux.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to get a little bit more into Linux. So,
have you got any systems? Are you running a distro? What are you doing?
Right now, I am using Linux. I think it is Solus.
That's right. Solus is our distro of choice here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a second. But maybe I think one of our objectives here is going to be to maybe get you to slowly switch to Linux from Windows. I hear there's a new version of Windows coming up this week, so I think you should be careful because your computer might explode.
It might take a couple hours to update, but
Sounds good to me. Let me just double check, make sure that I'm recording here, because it'd be a shame if we started this podcast and realized that we were not recording.
Yeah, that wouldn't be great.
Anyway, why don't we jump into some opening banter here and find out what you've been playing. What are you into? What have you been playing lately?
So right now I've gone back into Skyrim again, actually.
Skyrim?
Yeah.
Didn't that game come out before you were born?
No.
Okay.
No, not that young. I've loaded up with a bunch of mods, and it's a lot of fun. I've gotten relatively far into the game. I do find that you do notice the age sometimes, especially in the NPCs. Just the dialogue is a little bit rocky, and it kind of feels like everything's voice acted by the same person. What about you? What have you been playing?
Well, hold on a second. So, are you playing it? I mean, Skyrim is on every possible platform.
I'm playing it on Windows.
All right. So you're not doing the Switch thing?
Nah, I'm not playing on the Switch. I'm not particularly inclined to play Skyrim on the bus.
That's a good point. Anything else? What else have you been up to?
Is
that your go-to game? That's the only game you got?
For right now, that's basically all I'm playing. But I've been playing a little bit of Rainbow Six Siege. There's a Overwatch event right now. I'm not sure if you know, but every year they usually have 2 or 3 events, and right now they have an event going. I really want to try it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
That's pretty cool. Actually, I have some business dealings with the people at Overwatch, and I may have to go down to LA and meet with them in the next little while, but I'll keep you guys posted on if anything develops over there. That game is very, they've got a very dedicated fan base for the Overwatch League. You know, it's not getting the attention, let's say, that Fortnite is getting, or PUBG, or some of these other ones. Rainbow Six Siege is another one that is actually slowly creeping up there in esports.
That game took a very long time to be popular, though. I think it's like 3 years old, and they just slowly ramped up, updating till it finally got good.
That's true, and it just goes to show you that if you basically keep at it and improve your games, you'll find your audience. In any case, you know what? I haven't been playing much. I would say that since last week, the only game that I've played is Divinity Original Sin 2. And it is to my great shame, because Divinity Original Sin 2 is a Windows game. And no matter what I do, William, no matter what I do, I cannot get it to run on Linux. There are some people that are running it on Linux. I was on some Reddit threads trying to figure out what they were doing. Most of the time, these guys are running an AMD GPU and not an NVIDIA, or they're running the GOG version of the game rather than the Steam version. But whatever it is, I can't run that game on Linux. I've been harassing the people at Larian Studios on Twitter. Every time they post something relating to Divinity 2, I ask them when the Linux release is coming out. They haven't responded yet, and I want to be careful I don't kind of cross into stalking. But you know, I think there's going to be a Linux release at some point.
It seems like the kind of game that Linux would like.
Well, they released their first game on Linux. And I don't know, you know, there was some kind of blowback. I think people were complaining that it wasn't well optimized, and it took them longer to do whatever the mumbo jumbo there. They also announced that Divinity Original Sin 2 is coming out for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One this week. No mention of Linux or Mac. We'll see what happens there. I think it's going to come out, but I'm not going to wait. The game is too good to wait. And I started a new game through. I have a mod where I can have 7 people or more in my party. So I've got basically everybody in my party. It's a blast to play. I launch it up on the Windows system over there and play it. And whenever I launch it, it reminds me just how horrible Windows is. And I'm not anti-Windows. I've got Windows. I run Windows. I've got it. But it is just such a pain in the ass to use. The other thing I've been doing is basically, I've been installing, trying out different Linux distributions. Ubuntu 18.04 Bionic Beaver is coming out, and so everybody released their new betas for that. So I tried Ubuntu Mate, I tried Ubuntu Budgie, I tried Kubuntu. And by the end of the week, I got rid of all Ubuntus. I actually, last night I gave a go for Debian. And then I got rid of that as well. I was trying to set up a Freedom Box. And I had a Freedom Box failure. What I need is actually somebody to take my box, create a Freedom Box, and then come and install. Because, one of the issues is I don't have time to basically...
There should be a company that does that.
Yeah, there should be.
There must be.
I actually looked for... I did a search to see if there was anybody local here that could create a Freedom Box and just ship it to me with all of the stuff installed and maybe a little manual. But, there isn't. I think that'd be popular. But, the problem is, how do you... Freedom Box, for those that don't know, is basically a computer system, sometimes something like a Raspberry Pi, that you can basically connect to your router in your house, between your router and your modem, and it acts as a whole bunch of things, including a VPN. It can anonymize your traffic. It can create an email server. It can create a file server, so you've got the equivalent of a Dropbox that is in your house. It can have an IRC client. It does basically a whole bunch of things. It runs a server in your house, but it is completely private, hence the name Freedom Box. And I think that would be cool if I can get that to work, but I can't get it to work, so I'm not cool. In any case, I think we've got a giveaway. Do you know anything about giveaways?
Yes, we do have a giveaway today.
What is going on? Why would these guys just give away games? And how do they give away games? Are they crazy?
Must be.
Do you know what our giveaway is this week?
It is Tesla versus Lovecraft.
Tesla versus Lovecraft. That's right. That's our next giveaway. Thank you very much to the developer 10 Tons, who is partnering with us on this giveaway. The game, I think, was just recently released. William, can you check and see when the game came out?
Yes,
I think
I can.
Less than a few weeks old. Click Clack?
March 13th on PS4.
On PS4. I think it launched at the same time across consoles and PC.
It's all March 13th.
And let me just read the...
Switch was the 16th.
Can you read... Is there a description there? Can you read it for us? What's the game about?
Tesla vs. Lovecraft is a top-down twin-stick arena shooter. You can play as Nikola Tesla, who harnesses the static energy to power up his Tesla mech and give the Lovecraftian nightmares a lesson in horror.
The game highlights features are quantum teleportation, which allows the player to warp short distances, even through objects, and the Tesla mech, which provides the player an immense advantage. So,
that sounds crazy.
I have not played it yet. We've got a total of 5. We've got a total of 6 codes, half of which we're paying for, and the other half are thanks to our partnership with the developer 10 Tons. Like I said, thank you very much to them. What we're going to do is we're going to keep one of the codes so we can actually know what the game is doing, and then we're going to give out 5 copies of the game to members of our community.
Also, just to familiarize you with 10 Tons here, they've made other games like Neon Chrome,
okay,
Heroes of Kilvalia, I think it is, Boom Brigade, Rope Raider, King Oddball, Giage, which came out in 2017. A number of games here.
Cool. Okay, cool. Do you know where they're based? Is there, I think they're...
I can check really quickly.
Are they from Scandinavia?
I search up where is 10 Ton based, and I get a bunch of truck classifications. So
yeah, no, it's 10 tons. 10 tons. You might be able, actually, if you look on, let me just take a look here on Steam. If I go to...
Based in Finland. There you go.
Finland.
Yeah, you're right. Scandinavia.
Yeah, I think when we were going back and forth on the email about the promotion, we kind of bonded over our relative misery at being in the cold up here in the north. So here's what we're going to do. So first of all, we're going to give a chance to people that are listening to this podcast first before we announce it to the rest of the world. So here's how you can basically win before we mention it to anybody else. And if we've only got 5 viewers here or 5 listeners,
you've already won.
You've got a pretty good chance of winning. So let's start off with basically a couple of things that you can do to prove your support. So what we're going to do is, first of all, post a pic of your Linux desktop. We want to focus these prizes on Linux gamers, and that's the whole kind of point of App Mostly Linux. We want to normalize Linux gaming. Most people out there don't even know that you can play games on Linux, and our view is that the best way to improve support for our platform is to have more people using it. So if you are a Windows gamer, that's fine. Install a build of Linux, and you could do that just by basically putting Linux on a USB and launching your computer with a USB stick, and nothing will change. In fact,
I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of really cool things about Linux. I don't know if the other ones have this, but on Solus you can add widgets to your desktop, just like you can on your phone, your Android phone.
That's right, on the Plasma.
Which I found was very cool.
Right, you're running Solus Plasma, which is a beautiful, beautiful desktop. In any case, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a picture of your desktop, and somewhere on your desktop, we need to see the words, "We love 10 tons."
Wait, pause. Garage.
That's okay. Let the garage come in. So you have to say somewhere on it, "We love 10 tons." So hashtag "We love 10 tons." Just to basically show some love to the developers that are supporting us. It's hashtag "We love 10 tons." And then on that tweet, so tweet that, go on to Twitter and basically launch out "We love 10 tons" with a hashtag "We love 10 tons." and copy us at mostly_Linux, and also copy at 10 Tons Limited. That's LTD. And then we'll pick a winner on Wednesday, and we'll pick a winner on Friday from the people that post here. But we're not going to mention this contest to anyone out there until Wednesday. So if you're listening to this podcast between now and Wednesday, and you post something on Twitter with the hashtag #WeLove10Tons, and copy at mostly_Linux and at 10 Tons LTD, you'll have a chance to win before anybody else actually finds out about it.
A good chance.
So we're going to give out, on Twitter, we're going to give out a code on Wednesday. We're going to give out another one on Friday. The second way that you can win, and this is probably an even easier way for you to win because our Twitch stream has about 70 followers, and our Twitter thread has about 300. So we are not posting that often on Twitch yet. We're gonna basically ramp that up once we go live in May. But if you go, we're gonna post this on broadcast on Twitch, twitch.tv /mostly Linux, no underscore in our Twitch thing. It's kind of a bit of a glitch. We should have actually kept the underscore and everything, but
yeah, that's true.
We didn't think of it, and now we can't switch our name. So it's twitch.tv /mostly Linux. In that stream, if you're watching that stream right now, just type in the hashtag #WeLove10Tons somewhere in the stream. And if you're the only person that does that, you're going to be guaranteed to win. And if there's 3 people, you've got a 1 in 3 chance of winning. We're going to give away a code to somebody on Thursday for that. So on Thursday, anybody that's basically put in the hashtag #WeLove10Tons on our Twitch stream, twitch.tv /mostly Linux, we're going to basically give you a code. And the final one is we're going to check, you should check the subreddit r/Linux_gaming for instructions. We're going to provide some instructions on how our subreddit followers or the Linux gaming community on subreddit can win. Subreddit requires that you can't force somebody to go somewhere else. You can't go from, let's say, the subreddit over to Twitter in order to qualify to win something. So we're going to keep it to that community. We'll give a code away there on Friday. And how many codes is that? So that's 1 code for Twitch, 1 code for subreddit. That's 2 codes for Twitter.
That is 4.
Okay, so we've got 1 other code. I'll figure out some way to basically give out the other code. Not sure yet where the other code's going to go, but we've got more than enough codes for everybody to give it a shot. I'm going to be playing Tesla versus Lovecraft this week. We'll talk a little bit more about it next week. It looks like a really cool game, and it
does look pretty cool.
I'm not sure if it's available on the Switch, but let me tell you, like,
it is available on the Switch.
Switch is all the rage. Like, all of these indie guys are making so much money on the Switch that it is it's a bit of a concern. I mean, they're all going to shift their concern. Now, I guess the one positive thing for the Switch for Linux gaming might be that all of these guys are making more money on the Switch than on consoles and PC combined. At least some of the anecdotal evidence is. And the Switch is highly compatible with PC and Linux in particular. My understanding is that the Switch uses FreeBSD, which is not Linux, but it is, it's close enough. Probably most of these games use the Unity engine, and if they're using the Unity engine, they're going to be compatible with Linux. So hopefully that might be a good thing. In any case, that's that. We're going to take a break right now, and we're going to come back with the news. And we're back at Mostly Linux. I'm Mostly Gaming. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the news. Lots of news this week. We had a hard time narrowing it down just to a few topics here. But I think the headline, at least for, well, I wouldn't even say the headline, so much news out there, but I think the top story on our feed is that Steam Spy is dead. What do you think of that, William?
It's pretty crazy. I mean, it means not being spied on anymore, constantly on your Steam account. It's good by me.
That's true. You know what? I'm a little torn about that because I have to give Valve a lot of credit in terms of improving their privacy on Steam. It is a little creepy when you think about it, that you can basically go into anybody's.
And the amount of detail on the Steam accounts is worrying. Before, you can see the amount of hours you have on every single game. Anybody.
And I can find out every game that you own.
Yeah.
And some of the games on Steam, frankly, you might not want people to own. Like, I own a game called Hoonie Pie or something. What is that game?
Here, let me just check your Steam account.
It's called Hoonie Pop.
Yeah, Hoonie Pop.
I don't know, whatever. Honey Pop, Hoonie Pop, whatever. I mean, maybe I don't want my wife to know that I've got a little Hoonie Pop over here. And up until now, she could have, if she cared, she could have got into my Steam account and said, "Hey, why do you have? How many hours do I have into Hoonie Pop anyway? 56? No, 56 minutes. No, not 56 hours. I have 2 hours. Okay, well that's. I think I could probably explain that away. I've only got 2 hours in it. Maybe that's all you need when you're playing Hoonie Pop." Anyway, anybody could go in and basically take a look and see what you've been playing, how many hours, and all that kind of stuff. And a very smart employee of Epic Games, actually, Sergei Gilankin, figured out many years ago that, hey, you know what? If I basically run a little app, a little web crawler, I can find out and get all sorts of information on who's playing what, how many games are selling, I can make estimates on sales, on popularity, on all sorts of data that he could provide.
It was a huge asset to developers, though.
Other developers were pissed off because they claimed that it understated the popularity of their game. But everybody just accepted the facts, and they would look bad, even though nobody could prove whether the data was accurate or not. But in any case, so what Valve did is they came in and they got they basically by default set everybody's library as private. So you can go in now and switch it to make it public if you want, but by default it's private, which is what it should be, I think. But
yeah, that's probably the best way to do it.
The downside, though, is that Steam Spy is dead.
See, now before, you could change your account to be private.
You could, but most
so if you really didn't want to be spied on, you could always just change it to private.
You did, but the default was on, and most people just basically leave.
Didn't even care, or didn't even know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's dead. Now SteamDB, which is another of Galyankin's projects, I believe, is not affected. And SteamDB basically is a database of all of the Steam games. It may not be able to provide the same level of information, but it will still run because a lot of the information that is based on continues to be available. I use SteamDB here and there, mostly for getting app IDs and other stuff for games and trying to figure out, filtering and sorting. It does a much better job of identifying what games might be on Linux and which ones are popular and other platforms as well. But SteamDB is still available. Steam Spy is dead. Some say good riddance, others say too bad. I guess.
Well, developers like the Dreamfall director, Pillars of Eternity executive director, Adam Brennick, have all basically said that Steam Spy was a great asset to them. So
okay,
it might have been more helpful than everyone makes it out to be.
I found it helpful, but it's called Steam Spy for a reason. Anyway, what about Xbox originals? William, have you ever played any of the original Xbox games?
I think I was probably too young to play most of them.
Well, I wasn't. And I've got a ton of Xbox originals. And you know what? I have nowhere to play them. That is so sad. Do you think there's anywhere that I can play them?
Well, there is now. Xbox added backwards compatibility, I believe, right?
Yes.
So you can now play the original Xbox games on the Xbox One.
Yes, that's right. And they announced the Xbox Originals program like a year ago, and they announced their first group of games earlier, including KOTOR and Black.
Panzer Dragon Orta.
No, these are the new ones. What they just announced, what they announced on Wednesday, was about another, I'm not sure, maybe another 16 games or so that are going to be added to the program, including some of my favorites: Jet Set Radio Future, KOTOR 2, Blink.
So just so we're clear, they're not bringing these and remastering them and putting onto the Xbox One. They're literally, it's just a direct port, so it'll look the same and run the same.
No, and actually, you put this disc in. This is Jet Set Radio Future, and it will be upscaled to 4K.
Oh, nice.
And it will run at 60 frames per second.
Oh.
And it will look better, but it will all be done. This is another game that is coming onto it. It will be done through post-processing. So if you want to go out and take a look at some of the videos, you'll see the improvements.
It's like a slight remaster.
It's as far as the Xbox is concerned. That's Blink's. As far as Xbox is concerned, it will actually run exactly the same. But think of it in the sense of it is running, and then the extra power from the Xbox One X, because you're going to have two different levels of post-processing. One is for the Xbox One S, and the other is for the Xbox One X. And now the Xbox One X, I've got both of them, but on the Xbox One X, that will upscale them to 4K, so that's 9 times the resolution of when they were released. And then it's going to add a whole bunch of other post-processing. So the grass will look fuller, the clouds will look, the draw distance might be better. I have not tried them because they're not, I think the first set of games are coming out next week, and then the second set of games are coming out at the end of the month. I'm looking, here's another really cool game that's going to be on the backwards compatibility. It's called Full Spectrum Warrior.
Full Spectrum.
Yeah, love that game. I'm really looking forward to it. The Gun Valkyrie is another one. Gun Valkyrie is not being added. This was one of the Sega games. Gun Valkyrie will forever be somewhere else, I guess, right now. Maybe they'll make it into the third thing. Crimson Skies is already there. I did play a little bit about that. Crimson Skies is okay. It's a co-op game. If you've got somebody to play it with, it's fun.
I think I played Crimson Skies.
I think we played it together.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's, you know what? These games cannot be played anywhere else. Some of them, right? Like, for example, Jade Empire, I've got that on Origin, and I can run it much better on my PC than the Xbox One X is going to run this original version.
I mean, if you don't have a PC, then you want to play these games, it's great.
Well, Blink's, there is nowhere else to play it. So there's nowhere else to play Jet Set Radio Future.
Will you be able to download these games for the internet, or do you have to have the disc? You can download them, right?
Yes, you can download them and you can play them digitally. Actually, when you put the disc in, it's not playing them off the disc. When you put the disc in, it verifies that you own them, and then it just downloads them onto your hard drive.
It just downloads it off the internet?
But that is, you know what? I'll give, we sometimes, we kind of blame Microsoft for everything, but they are doing this backwards compatibility very, very well. First of all, they're not charging you for it. So if you've got the disc, you can play the game, which is perfect.
That's really the way it should be. If you own the game, you should own it forever.
Well, tell Sony that, because Sony basically makes you buy everything over and over again. That's a Nintendo thing as well.
So does Bethesda. Bethesda makes you do that. Every iteration of Skyrim, you get on every single thing. You have to buy a brand new full price. You
know what? The remake, the whatever that new version of Skyrim.
Remaster.
Yeah, I think that was offered either for a reduced price or for free to owners of the original. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was free. If you had
No. I don't mean the remaster. I mean, if we have Skyrim on the PC and on the Xbox 360, I think.
Right.
But if we wanted to get it on, say, VR or on the Switch, we would have to pay full price for it again.
Yeah. No, Bethesda, for sure. But this is, I guess, because this is on the same platform. Microsoft is offering it up. Sony really annoys me because I've got so many games going back to the PlayStation 1. I've got a ton of PlayStation 2 games and a ton of PlayStation 3 games. I've recently looked into emulating the PlayStation 3. Things like Demon's Souls are now playable on my PC, which is kind of cool. But it's still a pain. I mean, I would love to be able to just basically stick my disc into the PlayStation 4 and run some of these old games, at today's resolutions. But Sony wants you to pay for them again. Anyway, that's good news. Kudos to Microsoft, and I still have my Xbox. I still have my Xbox One S, my X, my 360, and my original. And now I can unplug most of them and just focus on the newest version.
Xbox One, yeah.
And you know what? Going forward, it's not a Linux thing, but every game that Microsoft releases, first-party game and second-party game on the Xbox One, will also be available for Windows. And that doesn't help us over in the Linux world much, but you know what? Not everything.
Now, this is a little bit off topic, but speaking of that, Sea of Thieves recently came out.
Yeah.
I think that was mid-March, and I played it a little bit, but I honestly didn't think it was that great. I was really kind of hyped up for it, but it just seems to be kind of a little repetitive, do the same thing again and again.
Yeah, I tried it too on the X and the PC. I don't know. You know what the problem is? We've got so many games to play, and we're going to talk.
Let's talk about that later in our Game of the Year segment.
Right, and we just don't have time. Next story. Have you heard of a game mode, a Firaxis game mode?
In Rise of the Tomb Raider?
In Rise of the Tomb Raider, and more broadly. This is actually pretty cool, and Microsoft announced something like this for Windows 10 a while back, where you've got like game mode for your Windows PC, which I'm not really sure what it does on the PC, other than sometimes annoy me. But what the game mode is, and this is an open source project. So Firaxis worked with a bunch of people, including Ike Doherty.
Ike Doherty?
Ike Doherty is the fellow behind Solus.
Oh.
And game mode is now incorporated into Solus. And so I went to the Software Center last night to check it out, and I typed in game mode, and there it was. And I downloaded and installed it, and now it's set. It will be coming out to other distributions as well. I think it may be on AUS. I read that somewhere. I'm not sure what AUS is, but it's on that distribution. There's ways to get it on Ubuntu or Debian or whatever else you might be on. It's open source, fully free, and basically what it does is it basically tells your CPU to remove any battery saving or power saving blocks or throttles on it, and it amps it basically just juices the electricity going through your CPU so that your CPU could basically run at full speed. It is a CPU technology, not a GPU technology.
It's like on the old computers where you had that turbo button. It's like that.
Right.
Launch up game mode. It's like you're hitting the turbo button.
Right. And so it's going to be included in Rise of the Tomb Raider, but it's open source, and other game makers can basically now incorporate it into their game, into their code. You can install it onto your system, and if the game recognizes the game mode application on your PC, it will unthrottle the CPU. And anecdotal, I read a couple of reviews from it from a guy that was running it on Ubuntu. What he was doing was basically running video streams with and without game mode to try to figure out what the frames per second improvement were. And I think he said his improvement was somewhere in the 10 to sometimes 20% range, which if
that's pretty good.
That's huge. That would be huge if you could basically get that with a CPU boost.
But so just to be clear, this is made by Firaxis.
It was developed by Firaxis and
It's open source
and members of the open source community. So
I see.
So I guess somebody had the idea, or maybe, I'm not really sure. Maybe the open source community was developing it. Maybe Ike was developing it,
and Firaxis came in
to put it into their Rise of the Two. I'm not sure, but either way, it's cool. This is how the open source community works. You develop that. If this was, if Firaxis was a Windows-focused company like Ubisoft, they would have developed their game mode and kept it secret for everybody else, so that they could have their advantage. So thank you to Firaxis, to Ike Doherty and his team. I've like I said, I've installed it. I use Solus. It's ready to go. I'm looking forward to doing some testing and seeing how it works. I guess our final piece of news, William, is this story about next generation TV to usher in viewer tracking and personalized ads.
Very interesting.
With 4K
so
broadcasts.
Just like Windows and Chrome looks at what you've been searching and personalizes your ads, it looks like TVs are going to try and do the same thing.
That's right. And this has been talked about for a long time. I've heard about this in the venture capital and in the advertising world since maybe the internet came up. This idea that, you're going to be watching TV and, you're watching the same show that I'm watching over here, but the ad that you see is different from the ad that I see. And the streaming system, basically cable and satellite, cannot allow that right now. But what this will do is basically, this is not a cable or a satellite or an internet technology. This is an over-the-air technology. And over-the-air basically means you will get the feed through an antenna. And in my house, we've gotten rid of cable television and satellite television, and we've basically gone to an antenna, an HDTV antenna. And what this is going to do is basically, it's the next level of over-the-air broadcasts. Your antenna will be able to pick up this feed in 4K, but your TV, which is connected to the internet, will then be able to send a signal back to the broadcaster, giving them information on what you're watching, which is the creepy part.
It's very similar to things like Steam Spy, where they're going to just kind of lean in and watch what you've been doing the entire time.
That's right.
Like what Chrome's doing.
That's right. But on the other hand, if I don't have to watch ads about if they know me well enough to know that they probably don't want to show me a commercial about cleaning supplies.
And you know what? At least you're not going to get the same ad 20 times in a row anymore. So.
You know what? I've been actually on my phone. I don't know who targeted me for whatever reason, but there's some dude who's doing some kind of a convention or something. He's speaking. He's a speaker somewhere, and every page that I go in, his face is there telling me about it. And I've tried to actually go to the Google things and say, stop showing me this. And and it is still there. And I've just basically, whenever I'm kind of browsing, if I'm on Google Now, when you click a story on Google Now, it launches in the Chrome browser, not in my Firefox default. And so as soon as it launches now, I kind of open it up in Firefox, which is an extra step so that I can ad block it. It's so annoying. It's so annoying.
It's that key step between advertising enough that the person knows about it and advertising too much that you annoy them to the point where they've made a pledge to never buy that product.
And you know what? I don't even know the guy's name, nor do I care, nor do I know what he's talking about. That's how kind of valuable his advertising is. I don't know how much he spent trying to basically reach me. And again, I must be somewhere as somebody that has gone. Maybe it's because I went to a couple of conventions kind of thing, over the last little while. Maybe it's a blockchain. I don't know what it is. But dude, stop it.
And we're back with the main topic today, which is the first quarter Game of the Year watch. There's a number of games here that are candidates for Game of the Year on Linux. A good amount of them are native, starting with...
Well, wait, just before we get into that. So what I did is basically we went out to Metacritic, and I did a search for all of the games that are available on Linux that got a score of 80 or more between the first 3 months of the year. And I included any game that got an 80 or more that was rated silver or more on Wine.
Or native.
Well, native, of course, but also anything that could be playable on Linux at a good enough rate. Silver usually is very, very good. Platinum is perfect. Platinum basically means that there is no difference.
It's essentially native.
More or less, from a user's perspective, yes. So let's go through these. What's the top rated game of the first quarter?
So first quarter, the top rated game is Into the Breach, which is platinum on Wine, and it's been rated 90.
90 is the Metacritic score, which is amazing. Have you tried that? Have you
I have, I think, 5 hours on it on Steam. It's kind of a good, chill strategy game. I like it because each campaign is the same, but at the same time a little bit different, and it's quick. So you could go into a campaign and finish it in maybe an hour. There's a good amount of difficulty in the game, but what I really like is that it feels like there's no situations where you can't win. I feel like if you're stuck in a bad situation, if you just look at the screen enough, the AI is made in such a way where there's a way out of every single situation.
Right.
You'll never be in a spot and Into the Breach where you look at the screen and you say, okay, there's lost. I've lost. There's nothing I can do. In other strategy games like FTL, which is made by the same people, I believe.
Yes, it is. You'll get to a point in FTL where you're halfway through your game, which are much longer. These are like 3-hour games, FTL. And you'll already know you've lost because you just don't have enough stuff at that point to be able to get to the end and beat the final boss halfway through your game, and then you're just like, whatever, I'll just stop playing now. But in Into the Breach, every single level is beatable, and you could be down but not out basically throughout the entire game and still manage to get to the final boss and beat it and win the game with like one... it's like an electricity bar, and if it gets to 0, you lose with like 1 point of electricity left. It's just... It's definitely one of the best, if not the best strategy game of the year. Okay, have you finished it? Did you get to the end?
I finished it, yeah. I finished it twice, because the campaigns are very, very short.
Okay, and...
So it's like, you could finish a campaign if you were to speedrun it in like half an hour. Easy.
Okay, well, I've got 46 minutes in it, and I didn't beat the campaign. I think I died, and then I think the dying mechanic is that when you lose, you get sent back in time? Is that what happens?
Yeah, so basically you are from a reality where Earth kind of got destroyed by this weird virus or something that was growing on these islands. And then just as Earth was being destroyed, you kind of jumped through a wormhole type thing, which puts you into another universe where you're at kind of like the patient zero group of islands, and you're trying to kind of stop the outbreak before it gets too serious. And then if you fail, you basically jump through another wormhole to try and save a different version of Earth.
Right. Okay, well, you know what?
So
it's done very well.
It creates all of your campaigns are in the same universe, and you share continuity through everything. So you can have you can actually share characters between each campaign, which is very, very cool.
Okay.
Like the character I used in my first campaign, I still have.
Okay, so you know what? I didn't get into it that far. I remember being a little confused when I first started playing. Is it like FTL where you're probably going to die and you should expect to die?
No.
No?
It's doable.
Is it harder than FTL?
I beat it, I think, on my 3rd try.
At normal or easy or hard or what level?
Normal. It's not as hard as FTL. I wouldn't say it's forgiving, but it's not like the rock solid impossible to beat game that FTL is.
Would you rank it as a game of the year?
Sure, I'd definitely say it's a candidate.
Okay, all right, well that's cool. So again, it is fully playable on Linux. If you run a distribution, easiest way to get it to play is to basically run Lutris, and there is a script, and you just basically install it using the script, and boom, it runs, and it runs perfectly. Not a problem. And that is, you know what, if we're not going to have games that are native to Linux, the second best thing is to have them be platinum. And that is a terrific game. Number 2 on the list is another one that I think you've spent a little time playing, called Subnautica.
Oh, more than a little time on this one.
I have not played Subnautica because it was not available. It's not available on Linux. It is silver rated on Linux, and at first I couldn't get it to play, and then I think they improved whatever they did in the background. Wine, I think, might have updated.
Well, I think you were trying to play it before it was released. There was still a beta when you were trying to do that.
Oh, maybe on early
access. It's now a full game. It's finished. It's out of early access.
I have run it on Linux. There is, again, a Lutra script. Click, run, and it runs. Maybe it runs at a slower frame rate. I'm not sure why it's silver rather than gold or platinum, but it runs very, very well. I had no problems, no glitches, no issues.
It runs. It's a little sketchily optimized even on Windows, so I can imagine it ported over to Linux. It might be even more sketchy.
Did you spend? How many hours? Into it? How many hours?
How many hours? A lot. I can check. I think it's just shy of 200.
You've got 200 hours on it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess you like it.
It's just such an amazing game. I think I did a little stream of it not too long ago. I think it was about a month ago. Okay. That was one of my campaigns.
And so, what is the hook here? What is this, like a Minecraft kind of game? What is it?
Oh, I wouldn't. Minecraft doesn't have a story. Subnautica has a story. So Subnautica, to me, the reason why it's so encapsulating is because it's a sandbox game perfectly interwoven with a story game. So you have an amazing plot line. It's probably one of the best stories put to a video game since, like, the original Halo plot in the first game with that epic music thundering as you finish. I think that was Halo 1 or Halo 2. It's just amazing, and it intertwines horror as well. So
yeah, I'm just looking at the trailer here too.
You'll be kind of attacked by this massive sea creature out of the middle of nowhere.
It looks gorgeous. Is it?
It looks very good. It's the graphics engine. I've got to give it to them. It's top notch.
I have not heard. I mean, this game, it's overwhelmingly positive on Steam.
It's the type of game that if you like video games, it is impossible not to like.
And it's got an 88 score on Metacritic. You know what is more important to me than the Metacritic score is the user score. And the user score for this is 8.1, which is very high for a user score. Users usually do not rate games as high as reviewers, and
I'm sure the reviewers don't want to piss off the devs too much.
Right. So let me just take a look. Into the Brink. Let me see what the
into the breach. Breach. Subnautica is. I find that the reason it's had so much success is because if you like horror games, you'll love Subnautica. If you like exploration games, you'll love Subnautica. If you like story-based games, you'll love Subnautica. If you like sandbox games, you'll love Subnautica.
Right. So Into the Breach user score is 7.5. Subnautica is 8.1. So the fans.
User score is higher.
Yeah, the fans seem to disagree with the reviewers. I mean, 88 and 90 is really no difference anyway. But I typically prefer the users. The user scores typically rank closer to what I think the game is.
And it's also less biased because. Let's say the person likes strategy games, whatever the reviewer. Well, then of course, Into the Breach is going to get a higher rating than Subnautica.
Right. Well, I mean, let's be kind of honest here. The gamer scores are very biased, right? Because you've got like somebody that has like hate on and gives it a 1, and then you've got other guys.
Yeah, but then you also have people that like it's. The only reason you ever review a game is because you're either obsessed with the game or you hate it so much that you want to retaliate against them. Because if you play a game and you think, it's all right, you're not going to review it. Like, I played Celeste.
Let's not go to Celeste. Let's not go to Celeste right now. So right now, so let me just tell you, with the reviews, the idiots cancel themselves out, right? So,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So idiots are randomly distributed, and you're just as likely to have as many idiots that give it a 1 as you have that are going to give it a 10. And so when those idiots cancel each other out, you know, the average is, I think, a realistic and good score. That's how the stock market works as well, by the way.
Yeah.
All of the idiots basically cancel each other out, and then the stock price actually reflects value. So anyway, let's go back to that. So Subnautica, so of these two, you'd give the nod to Subnautica?
Oh, easily.
Okay.
Out of all these games here, looking at our list, Subnautica is levels above all of them, except for maybe Civ 6. We'll talk about it a little bit later.
Spoiler, William likes Subnautica. 200 hours. But I guess that includes the early access, right?
Oh, yeah. I played Subnautica basically from when it was a very early beta all the way to well past 1.0.
I'm going to have to I know you've been telling me to play this game for some
years.
time now. I'm going to have to give it a shot.
You need to play it atmospherically, though. You can't... Subnautica is not the kind of game you can play in the living room with people walking around you.
Subnautica is not a Switch game?
It's not a Switch game, no. You don't play Subnautica on the bus.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if it's available on the Switch, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't. So the third game here with an 88 average score, the first native game available is Celeste. Celeste actually got a few 10s from reviewers out there as well. We've got Celeste. I think we may have given a few away earlier in the year.
We did, yeah.
It's an 88. It's a native game. I kind of bounced off Celeste. I mean, I tried it. It's very hard, and it's basically it's a platformer.
I'm sure Celeste is a fantastic game if you're a platformer fan, but we aren't. So.
Well, it is overwhelmingly positive on the Steam reviews. It is has an average Metacritic score of 88, and I think IGN gave it a 10 out of 10. Why did you not? I mean, why did it not connect with you? How many hours have you put into it?
I can check. I like to give like 90% of games a good run, so I think I've probably played a good amount, but my Steam is...
No, okay, don't worry about it. Let me just...
I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm not gonna mess around with that right now. I mean, if I'd guessed, I'd probably say like 5 hours.
Yeah, I'd probably put in less than that. Metacritic score 88. Look at this.
Again, I was streaming the entire time I played it, so...
So the user score for Celeste is 6.7. Interesting that how the user scores differ than the review scores. Again, a 6.7 for a user score, just because I usually focus on it myself. A 6.7 for a user score is really a 6.7 using the whole 10-point scale. Reviewers basically, if a game is total trash, will give it a 7, right?
Yeah. And you'll never see a game that's a 10.
Well, a few games. Like Celeste got a 10 from IGN, like I said. But the users use the entire range.
Actually, I played much less than 5 hours. I played 2 hours.
It's a tough game, isn't it? And
yeah, that was what... I don't think it's actually that hard mechanically, but the controls are abysmal. Oh my god.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I remember the first time me...
keyboard and mouse, or were you playing with a controller?
I tried both. The first time me and you tried to play it, I think we were both streaming and you just gave up halfway through because you just couldn't use the controls.
Right.
Don't you remember this?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
The controls are insufferable, and I think that's why I stopped playing in the first place. I got 2 hours through and my hands were cramping, and I play a lot of games.
Is it possible that we didn't give it a fair chance?
I think that no matter how much I play it, I'm not going to like it because I just don't like platformers. But if you're a platformer fan and you play a lot of platformers and you eventually get used to the controls, I could see how it could be an amazing game. And there were hints of a story in there, but it was kind of confused. It felt like the Dark Souls type of story, where I kind of knew what was going on, but at the same time, I had no idea what the hell was going on.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible that we missed something on it because I agree with you. It was. I didn't give it enough time, so I can't. I mean, I'm not going to be overly negative about it. It was a very difficult game, and the controls I struggled with, and so I gave up. Next game here is Iconoclasts, which is a native Linux game. Average score of 87, and to be perfectly honest with you, I know next to nothing about this game.
Same. I have the store page open, so...
Why don't you tell us, what is it about?
So about this game. So this is just the summary right off the store page. I'll read it out to you.
Right.
Robin just wants to be a mechanic and help people. But without a license, she's a sinner in her mother's eyes. Ever since picking up her wrench, the world has been going nuts, and she's wanted to bolt it back together. Now penance is raining down on everyone she loves, and one concern agents are after her. I guess one concern is like a corporation or something.
Okay.
But something big is going on, bigger than the draughts of ivory fuel and personal conflicts, and Robin's in the thick of it. So the gameplay features are hours of nut-twisting platform action adventure, numerous densely detailed locations filled with fine-tuned actions and puzzles, 20-plus gear-grinding, screen-filling boss battles to stand in your way, 3 game-changing difficulty settings, and a heart-wrenching epic story. Can one mechanic fix the whole world?
Okay. I'm just looking at the...
7 years in the making.
7 years?
Yeah.
It's very pixely hipster looking.
It looks like Celeste.
It's available actually. So here's interesting. It's available for the PC.
I don't know if you've played. I don't think you have. I played Terraria, I think, a while ago. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. I played an insane amount of that game. But it looks like they've made like an adventure game in Terraria. It looks the exact same. It looks like Terraria. Looking at their screenshots here.
I don't think I've ever played Terraria.
If you search up Terraria and you put it side to side with their screenshots, it looks like the same game.
Okay, well, it kind of looks interesting. Iconoclast is available for Linux, Windows, and PlayStation Vita, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. Metascore of 87, user score of 7.
Okay, so if you're... Oh my god, it really does look the same. I've just pulled out a screenshot of Terraria and put it beside. It looks like the same engine.
Cool. I've actually, you know what, I'm going to reach out to these guys, the developer 21. Who is it?
It looks good. Terraria is a fantastic game, and
Bitfrost,
just by virtue of the fact that it looks similar.
Bitfrost Entertainment and Joaquin Sandberg is the developer. You know what? I'm going to reach out to them and see if we can get some codes for the community here.
Puzzles, interesting characters, and menacing bosses.
I mean, that's a very high score, and I haven't heard people in the Linux sphere talking about that game.
I've never heard of this game before.
What's the next game on our list?
Next up, we have Full Metal Furies, which is a native Linux game with an 85 Metacritic score.
That's another one that I can honestly say I have not played. I heard about.
I again don't really play Linux, so most of these native Linux games are games that I wouldn't really be exposed to.
Well, they're available on Windows too, right?
Yeah, of course. Platform. Everything's available on Windows, but.
Oh, so this is by the same developers as Rogue Legacy.
This looks cool. This looks like. Oh.
It says here from the creators of Rogue Legacy comes a
true cooperation action RPG. This looks like. Oh my god! It looks like a Castle Crashers reboot.
Oh, it is. That looks very cool. It's an action RPG, kind of like Castle Crashers. Yes, yeah. You're right. Okay, we definitely got to play this.
We gotta give this a try. It looks. Oh my god. The graphics. That's nice graphics. There's one screenshot here that really highlights the graphics. It's the second one to the. It's the fourth to the last screenshot with the trees in the mist.
Right.
Wow.
Let me take a look. Full Metal Furies. Let me see what platforms it's out on.
From the creators of Rogue Legacy comes a true cooperative action RPG. Full Metal Furies puts an emphasis on team play with a unique combat system where everyone is important. Play on the couch, alone, or with friends. Or make it an online party of up to 4 players.
Oh, couch co-op. Awesome.
Oh.
85 is the... Oh, look at that. It's actually on the Xbox One, but it's only got a 74 on the Xbox One. It's got an 85 on the PC.
Oh, it's class-based. I like it.
6.7 user score. It's by Cellar Door.
Oh, that's cool. It's a true RPG. So how Castle Crashers was like a you'd level up, but there was no skill trees or anything like that, right?
Right.
This has each class has their own unique skill tree, and actually, I think Castle Crashers did have a skill tree.
I think it did.
It's Castle Crashers, and there was classes in that as well. There's like the archer. There's 4 classes, 4 different characters. Each class has their own unique skill tree.
Well, we definitely got to give this a shot. Okay, so
oh my god, this looks awesome.
To play list. Full Metal Furies by Cellar Door Games, average score of 85. Next one has been getting quite a good amount of attention recently. It's called Minute.
Minute was
I have not heard
of this.
Minute was just
Have you
released.
heard of it?
Yeah, the developers have been making the rounds because it just came out last week. So
this looks like a really artsy game.
It was developed
all black and white.
Yeah, it was developed by 4 guys, and the mechanic is this: every minute you die, and so you got to basically push the story, and you're gonna die in 1 minute.
Dying every minute,
and then you have to try to figure out, to get.
Oh, and then eventually you beat the game in a minute.
Presumably, I don't know.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I gotta give it to them. That's a cool idea.
So it's just 4 guys that basically developed it. They partnered up with Devolver Studios, Devolver Digital, which is the publisher. Developers are just known by the Twitter handles JW, Kitty, Juko, and Dom. The description is just basically: Minute is a peculiar little adventure played 60 seconds at a time. You know what? This kind of creative type stuff, you're not going to put 100 hours into it, but...
no, I don't think so. I think it looks like you'd finish it in like a couple hours.
It came out April 3rd, so it's actually not a first quarter game.
It kind of reminds me of Undertale. Just with like the graphic style.
Right.
Which again is a massively critically acclaimed game.
Right. Let me just take a look and see what Metacritic has to say. Minute is available for PC.
It has an 81 on.
Yeah, Metacritic. It's available for
81.
PC, PS4, and Xbox One. PC, of course, includes a native Linux version. User score is 8, but it's only based on 12 ratings. So a little bit.
Oh, so that's kind of skewed.
Yeah, that's the highest user score of any of the things that we've got so far. But it's also a very small sample, so I'm going to kind of dismiss that.
They just came out, so I don't expect it to have.
Destructoid gave it 100. So,
All right, I'm just going to read the about here, the first little section they have here. Minute is a peculiar little adventure game played 60 seconds at a time. Journey outside the comfort of your home to help unusual folk uncover countless secrets and overcome dangerous foes, all in hopes of lifting a rather unfortunate curse that ends each day just after 1 minute. Minute is a collaboration between Kitty Callis, Jan William Najman, Jukio Kaliko, and Dominic Johnian.
All right. Well,
Joanne.
That's got an 81. Worth checking out. I have not checked it out at all yet, so we got to give that a shot. The next one on the list is something called the Red Strings Club.
Oh, just to clarify, I don't think we mentioned, but all of the Celeste, Iconoclast, Full Metal Furies, and Minute are all native Linux games.
Correct. So the Red Strings Club seems a little sketchy because it gives me like a warning before I go in. Do you have it on your screen there? What's that about?
I'm opening it up right now. Red Strings Club. Yes, it gives me a warning.
What's it? I'm just running the trailer over here. What is it? What does it say? What's it about?
All right, so the Red Strings Club is a cyberpunk narrative experience about fate and happiness, featuring the extensive use of pottery, bartending, and impersonating people on the phone to take down a corporate conspiracy. Huh. It seems like a story game, like you make like decisions, and it has like a butterfly effect type thing.
Okay, well, it's definitely a pixel-ish hipster kind of game.
Yeah, pretty much all of these so far have been.
Probably designed for, as an indie thing. Deconstruction. I'm trying to figure out the developer. Deconstructing. They have also got Gods Will Be Watching is their other game.
Yeah.
I don't know. It came out. When did it come out? It came out January of this year.
The gameplay is dialogue. So think of Telltale. When you make dialogue choices.
Okay, well that would be cool. You know what? This has gotten next to no attention, and it's got a very high rating. It looks like it's only available on PC. 7.7 user score, which is pretty high. It's got 42 ratings, so that's very good.
Very positive on Steam.
Yes. Okay, so that's another one. We got to give that a shot. What's the next game on our list here? Have you ever heard of it?
Next game on our list is I mentioned this earlier. It's the Civ 6 Rise and Fall DLC
expansion. I'm gonna call
expansion. Yeah,
runs native. This just came out for Linux. It came out for Windows earlier. And it's just released for Linux a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know about you, but
this is a game both of us have played pretty extensively.
Yeah, but I didn't play it until this expansion came out, because before the expansion, Civ 5 was better, and I didn't like Civ 6. But now I like Civ 6.
I played Civ 6 both times. I played it both with this expansion and without the expansion. I played it, I think, like 2 games each. And I find that the expansion just, whatever way you want to say, it just makes the game better.
Yeah. Yeah, the expansion
it adds flavor to the game that it didn't have before.
Yeah, I agree. I would say
it felt needlessly complicated.
I would say this. I'd have a hard time making this game of the year because it's just an expansion rather than a full game.
Same.
But Civilization 6, as far as I'm concerned, is now playable. And right now, as a result of this expansion, if I'm going to play a Civilization game, I'm going to go to 6 rather than 5. Before this expansion, that would not have been true.
I think I could. To me, the dice is still in there. I'll play whichever one I feel like playing.
True. What about Space Tyrant? Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it. I think you've played it quite a bit, haven't you?
Space Tyrant was actually our February giveaway, and it is. It's a terrific game. It's basically like a strategy game.
Oh, so Civilization Rise and Fall had an 80 on Metacritic, and it's native on Linux.
Correct. Right? Space Tyrant terrorized the galaxy for fun and profit. Space Tyrant is a surprisingly deep beer and pretzel strategy gem set in a darkly humorous future. Build a mighty space force, disintegrate peaceful aliens, and rule irresponsibly on your relentless march to total domination.
So you're playing the bad guy.
You are. It's a little more complicated than that. It's more. Think of it. It's kind of closer to being like a board game than a video game. It's turn based. You got to plan out your strategy, and similar to other roguelikes, you're probably going to fail and die, and then you got to start over again.
I see.
Blue Wizard Digital is a developer. We partnered up with them and gave quite a few copies away. Everybody that received a copy in February tells me that they love the game. It probably deserves more attention.
I've seen you play it quite a bit, and you seem to be pretty into it.
It's a terrific game, and let me see how many hours I've put into it. Space Tyrant, 12 hours. 12 hours is a pretty good amount of time, given how limited my time is definitely one of my contenders personally for Game of the Year. Final game here was our March giveaway, Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition, which is a remake. Probably, what do you think? Should remakes be included for Game of the Year?
So it's a reboot, right?
No. It is the old game enhanced.
Remastered?
Enhanced.
I don't know about
that. It was our March giveaway. And I have run it. You know what? I've played a little bit of the Diamond Edition, the older version. This does look better. It's not significantly improved, but it is good to be able to play it in 4K, for example, on my 4K monitor. Do you know what the problem is, though? On Linux, it doesn't work in 4K. Yeah, it's glitchy, and
it's native Linux game.
Yes, it's glitchy, and there's a high DPI bug, which means that when I click on a button, the button is not really there. I have to click like an inch underneath the button in order to actually click it. Right.
That's not. It's not. That doesn't count as native Linux. I'm sorry.
And so it does work at 1080p, but it just doesn't work at any higher resolution.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried it on Windows at 4K, and
I'm sure it'll work on Windows.
It does work on Windows.
It doesn't.
To my shame, it does. It does work on Windows.
Okay.
To my shame. For Linux and Linux fans everywhere, and I'm a big fan of Beamdog, and I know they're working on it. They're aware of the problem. I decided to stop playing. I'm going to play the Enhanced Edition. If I'm going to go to the Enhanced Edition, given that I've got the Diamond Edition, I'm going to play this at 4K. And so I'm going to wait for it to be fixed before I go back to it, so there's not much that I can comment there right now. But look, if you are a Linux gamer, these are some of the greatest games of the year. That are available for you. I guarantee you that you would not be able to finish all of these games if you were to start playing them right now before you got into something else. And one of the benefits that I have, like that I appreciate from being a Linux gamer, is that there is so much choice out there. I don't know how you deal with this, William, but you know, there's. I started playing Kingdom Come Deliverance. I started playing Assassin's Creed Origins, Wolfenstein, Far Cry 5, you know, there's God of War. There are so many games out there that how can we ever possibly get to them? And by limiting my choice, in other words, just only playing Linux games, I actually enjoy it more because I don't have an opportunity to buy games that I'm not going to play. As crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what I do? As I just don't play games. Like, I just don't play a game. Like you constantly recommend games to me. Like you recommended Space Tyrant, which we own. I never played it because I just
is that a good thing?
Looking at a game.
Yeah.
For me, when I look at the game, I decide whether or not I'm going to really, really like it. If I think I might enjoy it for a little bit, I won't play it because, like I said, there's so many other selections out there. While it might be a good game, this game might be better.
Right, but
and
I mean,
it's the same thing that I did with Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Okay, I don't want to get into Kingdom Come Deliverance, but how do you decide by looking at a game whether you want to play it?
Well, I just know the type of games I like. I like sandbox games where I can do what I want. And I didn't feel like learning how to play Space Tyrant. And I didn't feel like playing a game like Kingdom Come Deliverance where there's like a 4-hour-long intro tutorial thing you said.
No, it's not a 4-hour. Okay, I don't want to get into it. But look, Kingdom Come Deliverance is a good game. It runs actually under Wine. A better experience under Windows, but you can play it under Linux if you want to install Lutris. Anyway, that's that for the first quarter games. Lots of selection there, but wow, you're clicking pretty hard on your keyboard. Is that mechanical?
Yeah, that's why.
You're hurting my ears. Okay. But the battle never ends, William, because you know what? There's new games coming out in April. And there's new games coming out all the time. And probably there's a... I'm
just gonna hide under a rock, okay, and keep on playing Skyrim.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, here's a game that is coming out April 25th for Windows. It's called BattleTech. Have you heard of it?
BattleTech.
BattleTech looks outstanding. I know there's a Linux version, and I contacted the developer, Harebrained Schemes, which is also, I guess what's their other game? They've got a couple of games. Harebrained. Oh, they do the Shadow. I'll remember it in a second. But I'm just gonna run the trailer here in the background while you take a look. But it looks outstanding. They did announce that Linux would not be available at launch. They're going to basically launch that subsequently. And so I reached out to them for a giveaway, and they told me that they are open to a giveaway when the game launches. And I said, when do you expect the game to launch on Linux? And they said 2 to 3 months.
That's not too bad.
So 2 to 3 months. This is April. End of April is the Windows release. So May, June, kind of June, July. This would be a perfect game to play in the summer when there's a little bit of a lull in gaming. I am looking very much forward to BattleTech, and I think this is going to definitely be a Game of the Year contender when it's released. We hopefully will be able to do a giveaway as well.
It's very cool.
You know what else is coming out in April?
There's a bunch of other games coming out in April. What specifically is coming out in April?
Have you ever heard of a game called Rise of the Tomb Raider?
Oh my god, is this the 10th reboot?
Yes, this is actually Rise of the Tomb Raider is a sequel to Tomb Raider, and it is finally coming to Linux a year after its launch on Windows. And it came out on Xbox first, so maybe it's a little bit more. But an Xbox.
How many Tomb Raider games have there been? I can't even keep track anymore.
This is the reboot, so this is only the second game. I think
this reboot, but then there was a reboot before this, and then there was the original, and then there was another reboot.
Yeah, I don't know how many reboots there are. There is a new game coming out on consoles and Windows in the fall called Shadow of the Tomb Raider. We'll probably get a chance to play that next year, or maybe in a couple of years.
Rise of the Tomb Raider. I have played Rise. They ported to Linux just as they're about to release the new game.
Well, Firaxis did the port. Usually games like this take a little more work. And this is the game that's coming out with that performance mode, so we'll get a chance. I've already played this game on Windows. I own it on Windows, and I'm looking forward to installing it. If you have it on Windows, if you have it on Steam, it automatically is available on Linux when it's launched. So I'm going to launch it up and play it again on Linux. It's a terrific game. It has to be one of the best looking games ever made. So that's coming out late April as well. The other game is something called Everspace.
Everspace.
Everspace is it's available for Windows right now. It's actually available for everything. It's available for Windows.
Oh, nice.
App. It's a Mac.
A real play everywhere game.
Well, it's also a VR. It's got VR hooks into it as well. Everspace.
Oh, whoa! It's a space game.
Right.
Like you're in a ship.
Rockfish Games. Everspace combines fast-paced combat with roguelike elements, great visuals, and a captivating story.
Oh, this is so cool! It's a first-person space shooter game.
Right. You can download it actually now.
You can have this on VR.
Yeah, you can download this on.
Oh God, I'm sold.
You can download this on Linux now, but it's kind of beta for Linux. The formal launch of the Linux version is going to come April 20th, is what I'm told by Rockfish Games. And check this out. We're doing a giveaway. I've communicated with Rockfish Games. They're going to cooperate. This will be our next giveaway. And I wanted to give a heads up to people that listen to the end of the podcast because I'm not going to mention it until it is ready to go. So thank you very much to Rockfish Games. Rockfish Games. Looks terrific. Can't wait to give that. I've already owned it, actually. I own it, and I'm not playing it until it comes out on Linux. Comes next. Anyway, that's it for our show this week. Thank you very much for listening if you've made it to the end. William, how can they reach you outside of this?
You can reach me on Twitter at _macrodude_.
2 underscores? Really?
Oh, come on.
Okay, and we're at mostly_Linux. We love those underscores. You can find us, though, beyond Twitter. You can find us, what is that? We're on Mastodon, at mostly_Linux. which is a blockchain based social network. Mastodon is pretty cool. The other one that we just joined is called Gab.ai. And Gab.ai, we're also mostly _Linux there. Gab.ai is a free speech social network. It's basically Twitter, but completely free speech. So when you go on there, you're going to run into like Nazi guys, right? You're going to run into racist guys. You're going to run
Welcome
into
to the real world, I guess.
Well, they're probably overrepresented, right? Because they can't go to the other things.
That's true. So then
But the position of Gab is, look, you don't like them, you can mute them and never see them again. And it's your responsibility to basically see and do and talk to whoever you want. And I love the idea of freedom of speech. I love the idea of a freedom-based social network. Gab.ai. You can basically just go check it out. We're at mostly _Linux over there. We're also on Twitch. We're on Stitcher.
Twitch, remember, Twitch is just mostly Linux, no underscore.
Correct. You can find our podcast on Stitcher, on Spotify. There's an RSS link. You can follow us on our Twitter feed. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.